Hi there. This is a new episode of the video. I have a guest. It's Yaroslav Lazor. Hi, Yaroslav.
Hi, Martin.
Thanks for being with me. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick? What are you doing?
There's a lot of context, right, to a human being. So I run a company called RailswareProducts.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 products that we run. The one that in context is Titan Apps, which is a Atlassian vendor where we deliver apps to the marketplace and hopefully to make people organized and better. And we can talk more about that, right?
Yes, please.
But also we do Coupler, which is a data platform, which helps people move the data, store the data, analyze the data, because we are crazy on data.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Mailtrap, which is an email platform, which is transactional email, a marketing email platform, which
like
is
Mandrill or like
Mailtrap. Yeah, it's similar to Mandrill, but we started from email testing, and then we gained millions of users, and then we were like, well, it makes sense to become a full-scale platform rather than just a function.
So you know more than just Atlassian marketplace.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And then I'm running consultancy for 15 years.
Yeah, okay.
And it's a software consultancy. We help companies by coming in. We have our approaches and principles, how we build software. We have a framework called Bridges, where we scrape their information, put it on the board, and then we help figure out how to build software. And we have an immersive amount of knowledge how to build software and how to do it right. And we build Calendly, famously.
Okay.
We were the company where the founder came to Kyiv. We spent a session with him, and we pushed him into a certain direction, which happens to be very successful.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
I'm a very happy Calendly user myself.
Great. Yes. A lot of people are, right? And and then our consultancy still, we have many billion-dollar clients, and we know how companies of 100 people work, how companies of 200 people, 300 people work, with funding, without funding, with hundreds of millions of ARR, with thousands of ARR. So we're very software adverse company.
Okay. Let's talk about the Atlassian stuff, because that's most likely
narrow it down,
most likely where we'll attract our audience. What apps are you building there, and what is your experience? This is also for a series called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So we also want to know the bad and the ugly. Just tell us what comes to mind out of those 3 categories.
Yeah, so it was kind of a mistake how we got into Atlassian, I would say. So we had this product called...
You wouldn't be sitting here if it was a big mistake.
It was a good mistake.
Yeah, okay.
So we had this product for a while called OrgMap, and then we built it inside, like an internal tool. We were about to put it to the market, but it's a big product, and it requires a lot of focus. And we were missing a checklist that has a API. And then the checklist at the current marketplace, you were able to add just item by item. You were not able to work with bigger checklists. And we as a company started to put together procedures and principles and things like, how to submit your taxes. And we're present in 4 countries. How to help people submit their personal taxes. How to do the onboarding of like a regular person or an engineer into the team. How to proceed with like the hiring process, and so on and so on. There's like a lot of processes that the companies have not documented. Or if they do have documented, they have it in Confluence. And Confluence is something you can read, or you don't have to read, because it's somewhere on the side, right? You keep your work within Jira. So what we wanted to do is to deploy those checklists into Jira tasks, so people actually go through it. And we made it very kind of like an anal process. We were like, hey, this is how it works. If you want to change it, please go and edit it, and then go back and change the template, how the processes work. If you're not going to use it and you're going to fail throughout it, then you're going to have a problem within your job. You're not doing your job correctly, right? So, and then we created this checklist 3 days and deployed it. And that was it. There was a text area which was saving the data into fields. A minus was a checklist, a plus was a done checklist, an X was a canceled checklist, a tilde was a checklist in progress. You save the text area, you get a checklist. When you click on it, it changes the custom field. And that's it. We had no storage, no external storage, no external app, nothing. So it was just a bunch of JavaScript. So we built it in 3 days. This principle of like building apps is called the heart. We use the same principles as we did with our clients, because we always deploy clients' apps from the most important element of the app in a few days, so that the team actually understands what is it that they're doing. What is the app that they're building?
Like the minimum viable product.
Super minimum viable product, and also the heart of the product, right?
And that's Stick.
Yeah. And then after a while, we looked around and we had like 700 installs. We were like, oh wow, nice. And then all the other checklist vendors started copying stuff from us because they didn't have they had ability to add one by one. They didn't have API, didn't have anything. And when we deployed it as a field, we created API because now you can just take Atlassian API. When you create the ticket, you just push the text into it, and then you have an API. And you could update it using API because you just do the issue update. And then you had search embedded in it because it's just a piece of
you
text.
were not building your own API, you were leveraging Atlassian API.
That was a smart idea, that you didn't have to put so much effort into it. That's why we built it in 3 days. And after a while, we were just supporting it throughout. People were asking us to do something.
And was that on server and data center already, or only cloud?
It was first cloud, and then we made a data center app. But the problem was that we had like 1.5 person building this. And up until a year ago, we had 2.5 people building it. Very small team. We were just supporting it. But then we seen that everyone else is copying our stuff, and we were like, well. We put a lot of innovation into this checklist, and then we had a lot of stuff waiting on the side as an internal product, the org map, which is a much bigger thing. And we were like, okay, it's time. And then in the meanwhile, we grew up as a company, and then we became like a 150 people company with how do you call it, 8-digit in revenue. We crossed 8-digit in revenue, right? And then we were like, this is what we love. We love to help companies be more organized, and we have to help companies be managed better. And then we started putting our domain knowledge into it. So we started we took our big app, and we were slicing pieces of it and building up the team. So we built a team from 2.5 people to 30 people. Overall, in the whole company, it's not a huge growth, but of course within the Titan apps itself, it's a huge growth. And we have to hire Java people and so on and so on. And with our crazy rigorous process of hiring people, where like we have 10,000 applicants in the last 18 months, and only 0.7% can pass the interview and actually become a team member, it was a nice path, I would say.
How do you get so many people to apply?
Employer branding. We are perceived by the industry as people who are run by the craft, and we, as a matter of fact, are run by the craft. We never cheat. We never hire. So as outsourcing companies just take a ton of people, and then for them, a successful employee is someone who is not fired by the client. For us, a successful employee is someone who we wouldn't fire from our own product team. So our people are always the drivers of like tests and consistency, and we have things like implementation plans. But it's a very long discussion, probably a very big book about the way we just build software.
And it's all people who can code?
No, I mean we have everyone, right? We have product managers, QA, marketing, SEO, market managers, content writers. Our marketing team is the second biggest team. We have like 90 developers.
You said you have 3 apps right now on the marketplace. One is the checklist app?
We have 5 apps, by now
okay.
on the marketplace, but we have 3 SaaS apps altogether.
Okay, what about the other 4? So we learned about checklists?
Yes, so there's checklist. There's a free version of checklist, which was the one that we ran in 3 days. That's how it all started. We have templates, and templates are a part of our, this is the original vision that we had within the org map. And then, because like checklist, sometimes you have such a complex process as like preparing an event that you cannot just do it within the checklist. It's not a checklist, it's a series of stuff. So our checklist and templates, they'll run together, right? And then they're created together, and then that makes a lot of sense for them. We have a smart AI, we keep changing names, smart AI release notes and insights.
Oh, okay.
So that's something where you can talk to a AI and can say, well, here's the tickets I want. In the future, it's going to be, here's the epic structures I want. What happened in there from perspective of release notes? What did I miss in the last 2 weeks? So I was out from my team. I was on vacation. I come back and I was like, hey, so what happened? Smart AI bot, can you tell me what happened in the last 2 weeks? And it'll look at the changes and it'll say, well, this happened.
Okay, so it's not only for stakeholders outside of your team, but also for people within the team.
Yes. Yes, and but the same also for when an investor can say, well, what are my teams doing? Like, tell me, right? So there can be many different use cases for that. So we'll push it into that direction.
Okay.
And the last one is the team performance dashboard. So smart.
Should I fire someone?
What is it? Typically, firing is a big thing, but basically, like what's happening within my team? You have top performance. Very often, the most vocal people are people that don't do that much. And then, so what I met in my career, and it's a pretty long career, is that I had a lot of people who needed help, and I was helping them to deliver something. But then at some point, I looked around and I saw a lot of people who delivered much more without asking any help from me. And there's people who need a lot of help from me to deliver a bit. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm focusing on the completely wrong crowd. I should focus on the people who actually deliver and just 10x them rather than to help people deliver just a few story points. So, and this is where our 0.7% hiring rate came in.
And this app helps me to decipher those people?
Yeah. You see who are your champions, you see who's struggling, and you see who's doing nothing.
Okay.
Which is, when you're a part of the company, when you're part of the startups, it's just rude to do that to your colleagues and to everyone. Like, why would you do that, right? And then the apps helps you to see the breakdown per week, so that sometimes an hour mind is not that great.
And doing nothing means there's no activity on Jira, or is that evaluated by other people?
Yeah, no artifacts. Jira, Google Drive, Slack, Figma, GitHub, right?
But it's not a voting or something that other people say, oh, he's underperforming or so, and then you collate that or something.
You can do that. It's not voting. No. And you can do that. Someone said he's underperforming, and then you can look at the artifacts, and then you have the bigger picture, and you understand this message basically that's driven, something is happening in here, and then you look at that. You look at the results of what the app shows, and then you dig into it.
Do you see people feeling uncomfortable with this rigorous process of evaluating their performance all the time?
I would say it is possible, but there's also people who your champions that do the right job. So instead, it's not about turning people into number. It's about pairing the right people who do things great and the people who are struggling, just pairing them together and then helping them also strive. And very often, the issues when people don't perform is very rarely because of they're evil people. They don't want to do anything. They want to just hide in the bushes. Typically, it's just is confusion, lack of understanding. They don't understand what's happening, what should be happening. How are they evaluated altogether? Like what is it that you should do? So people are trying to never show that they're silly and not being evaluated as silly. So they're trying to be smart. And sometimes they try to do the opposite thing that actually makes sense for the business. So, and this helps you not just to fire people, but it helps you to see who's struggling and help them.
Okay, cool.
Guide them.
And let's shift gears a little bit. More away from Titan apps and more of you as a founder, let's say, giving advice to other founders who also create apps. So what is something that you've learned recently or overall that you think you would want to pass on to a founder who's just starting on the same journey? So let's assume they just want to air their first app. And what's a mistake that you've made? Or what's a real win that you saw that you want to pass on? Can you highlight something? Can be operational, it can be strategic.
So we seem to have this fun traction with mistakes. So basically,
who doesn't?
Who doesn't, right? Probably those that do nothing. They don't
You make no mistake if you don't do anything.
Exactly.
You don't seem to be that person.
Yes. So we talked about that with you when we were here. We had a lunch. So I make terrible advices for people who just want to make quick money. So I'm sorry, it's not going to be that advice for sure. We built the company very slowly. It was like very low revenue in general, very motivated people who really love the craft and so on and so on. So we do it in a very slow manner, and we didn't have this like explosive success from that perspective. But the team that we built and the amount of craft and knowledge that those people have is amazing, and that's why we just built the last 3 apps in the last like month and a half. So it's very quick in terms of how we are able to push, deploy elements to the market without just doing unnecessary things, right? So that's a success from our perspective. But from perspective of like revenue and sales, we're not that like super great and commercially viable compared to like companies that grow 3 to 5 times per year. So we didn't gain that success for sure. The mistakes that we made is that when our apps had traction, it would be a good idea to make more apps back then and to evolve our current apps and to become much more serious. And then we lost like 2 years from that perspective.
Okay, because you took consulting jobs or other things.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff, right? War, as a Ukrainian, right? The last 2 years basically have been a lot about that as well.
And that must also feel awful. But let's not dive into that. It's a
separate subject.
I feel this definitely. Okay, so let's get a little bit operational here. So, what are you doing to gain reviews for your apps?
I don't think we're great at that. So support. Tickets.
Yeah, okay. So you talk to people
useful.
and then ask them,
Yeah,
look, now this
that's a great one.
Yeah, okay.
There was this company in Dubai. They had like 1,700 reviews, 5-star reviews, right? And I was like, wow, they're probably super stellar. I was like, no, they're probably asking every customer to make their review. And then, yeah, when I went to do a haircut in there, they were like, they did ask every customer to just give them a good review. But they did a good haircut. But asking customers at the moment when they just service you, and they're like, this is a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you attract new evaluators? Is there a silver bullet that you can recommend to people?
Attract you what?
New evaluators. So you want someone to try out your app on the marketplace.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you tweaking your marketplace entry, or are you improving your website? Are you creating a blog post? Are you doing Google ads? Or is there anything you want to highlight?
I would say that we're doing
I think we all struggle with that, there's no real answer. But
yeah, I think we're doing all of that, and we're trying to track it as we're a data company predominantly, right? And then we're trying to see what actually works and what makes sense.
Have you used this new attribution API that Atlassian offers?
We could, though.
It's pretty new still. Like.
Yeah. We I think some of our dashboards do have that.
Yeah.
But not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, our teams just jumped on that, but it's only a couple of weeks old. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's a slow market. Atlassian specifically is a slow market. You have to like play the long-term slow game, and then it's you definitely cannot win here if you play a quick game. It's not crypto.
Yeah, that's.
This is not crypto for sure.
That's why I'm here. We thrive in making compounding, small, iterative changes. Okay, let's shift gears again. So we can't talk about announcements because we're before announcements. But it's most likely going to be a lot about AI and these things.
Yep.
You also said you have an app that is AI. Can we go on a higher level and you tell a little bit about what you think is AI going to make as difference for in the Atlassian ecosystem, and where does it lead? Is it just like a nice text helper or something else?
So. AI is a big rabbit hole, and I think it was a bigger rabbit hole 6 months ago.
It's got smaller?
It got more used to, I think, by people. There was a lot of fear of losing work and what we're going to do and so on and so on. I think there was this big announcement by Meta, Llama 3, and the head of Meta.
That's just a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah. And then I think a week ago, but in AI it feels like a year ago.
Yeah.
He said that he thinks that the large language models are the dead end. They're not going to be as precise as we think and expect.
When you say he, then it's Mark Zuckerberg, or?
No, that was the head of AI for Meta, right? Bad was name, sorry. I did personally, I think probably 1,500 sessions with AI myself, of dealing with whatever, emails, preparing food for kids, figuring out mental problems of
I think
kids.
I'm already beyond 1,500 sessions.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah, and then so.
But you're a strong user, obviously.
Yeah. And then so basically, the way you use it at the beginning and becoming happy with what AI gets to provide for you starts to like shiver throughout a longer period of time. I think it's getting you very excited about some potential things, but then the precision of the final answer that you cannot fully trust to makes it that it will empower people and it will speed people up, but it's not going to replace people from that regard.
Yeah, I fully agree on that.
Right, and as we were building the app as well, and we were trying to shape it to do some such things as release notes, kind of on that level, it makes a lot of sense. But there's no, I don't think we are at the level where we could actually use AI to just like completely transform the things, because we do a lot of actions in Jira specifically. You have to do a lot of actions, a lot of search elements, a lot of this, a lot of that. AI is great to help you pre-configure certain things. It's not great to like do the job for you or do very long sessions for you or do a lot of like actions for you, right? But it can help you to write a JQL. But sometimes it's just easier to write a JQL, right? And then in terms of coding, very similar thing. It can produce a decent code, but then once you have a problem, whatever you ask the AI for, whatever you give like the descriptions in, it actually takes less time to just go and fix it yourself. So it's a good copilot in that term. And then I think apps that embed copilots, and they have moments when people would get stuck in their busy lives. It would be a decent place for to AI to be embedded to. And everyone is doing that right now. Everyone is embedding AI in that specific place.
Yeah.
Configuration management. And
I'm just looking at the notes, and you said that you could say something about the ugliness of Forge. And as we've covered a lot of like potential and cool things and your apps and so on, maybe we could focus a little bit on bad stuff, on ugly stuff that you experience. And what is it?
So you have a decent shell of a simple thing, of a simple app that you can build on it. But if you actually want to go deep, like for example, our performance app, right now it's in Forge. But if you would run it on a company that's like 500 people and you would connect Git into it, the limitness of the backend jobs would like kill us. We have to create this meta approach of backend jobs that run backend jobs, and then you're out of limit to pull the data in. So you'll have to create like an external element that would basically pull the data in. And then, so sometimes you find yourself playing and battling with Forge rather than trying to deliver your app, right?
So kind of like the Forge frameworks distracts you from building the product that your customers need.
Yes.
And instead, you're like in this limited box and trying to, how do I fit this in? And it's more of a Tetris game instead of like a creative building.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And your microphone slips away as well.
Yeah. So,
They're running away.
hello, that's this problem. But it probably tells us that this should be it. Is there something that you want to share in a video with, I don't know, customers or partners, something that we can learn?
I think there was a lot of companies who advertised against Jira, and they say like the Jira.
And
like,
still do, right?
They still do, yeah. And then conceptually, there's this old funny commercial about the Mac guy and the Windows guy, right?
Yeah.
Something similar in that regard. And then while there's a lot of there was at least a lot of complexity in Jira. Now it's getting slightly better with the UI, UX, and what Jira is reinventing itself. It kind of became a slightly different company at some point. It went up in terms of UX, UI, the products that they deliver, and so on, right? So now it's slightly better, I would say. But before that, yeah, you really had to know a lot in order to, the schemas, the copy of schema template, right?
Yeah.
All the things. You really had to understand a lot. But at the same time, it has ability to build your organization workflows and work style into it and create proper permissions and create proper things, right? And then while it has this ugliness in certain areas, it actually has the benefits and this long-term ability to deploy your company into it and actually long-term.
Yeah, fully agree.
And then while everyone hates the tasks and the amounts of stuff that they're putting in you and so on and so on, but I think the app vendors are there to fine-tune for different use cases. This ability to have a greater workflow, a great enough workflow for people to be happier, to be more productive, to be less angry at things, and to actually understand what is it that they're doing. We're definitely on that mission to change the way the companies are being managed, but also help everyone when they're working on this one task that they're doing. Like, why am I doing this? What is it connected to in my world, and which part of so that you understand that you're a part of a bigger mechanism that's doing good, rather than just a task cruncher or task builder, and add dynamics to the workflow of people and add some excitement. Because every time we would take our team and make it more dynamic, people would be much more excited to deliver the same thing.
Yeah.
When you shorten the cycles and you deliver them, people just get more excitement, and we're definitely on a mission to do that. And I think Jira is a great platform to deliver this dynamic thing when you're just happier about your job on an everyday basis.
Yaroslav, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
Cool.